Coming up on today's episode.
I think that the first thing is, and we speak to a lot of buyers and they say, why do I use a buyer's advocate? I can do it myself.
Uh-huh.
And it's funny that I always say this thing that
They can.
which I was saying, buyers don't know that they don't know.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So, we'll speak to buyers and we'll say, when we're doing a discovery call, hey, how long have you been looking in the market for? And they'll go 6, 7, 8 months. And they think that's normal.
Yeah, it's not
And
normal.
it actually is not.
No.
We will search and transact between 4 to 5 to 6 weeks.
Yep.
Because that's what we do all day, every day. So this misconception saying they could do it themselves, they can. But if they're taking 6 to 8 months to buy property, what they could have afford, what property they were able to afford then, 8 months later, might be worth another 500 grand or, 50 grand.
50 grand.
500 grand. That's a
Market's not
market.
moving that much.
So, but they don't understand that it's not just about finding the property. It's about doing the research behind it. It's about doing, attending the auctions. It's about the negotiations. It's about making sure that we find them the off-market properties. So we find properties that that no one else will see.
Dodgy advice and bad decisions can cost you big in real estate. We're here to make sure that doesn't happen. Welcome to the No BS Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Jo Agresta, and it's time to take control of your property journey together. Welcome back, everyone, to the No BS Real Estate Podcast, your listening how-to guide to the Aussie finance and real estate market. I'm your host, Jo Agresta. Now, today we're digging into something that confuses a lot of people: vendor advocacy and buyer advocacy. Two things many buyers and sellers don't even realise they can get help with. And in today's episode, we've got two very special guests, Nicole and Clint Payne, the powerhouse duo behind Bayside Real Estate Advocates. Now, with over 70 five-star reviews and a combined 38 years experience, they help everyday Aussies buy and sell properties in a smarter, with more confidence and clarity than ever before. Now, Nicole's also been recognised as one of the top 1% of real estate agents in the country 10 years in a row. And Clint is widely praised by his clients for his calm, strategic negotiation style and ability to secure standout results in competitive markets. So you're about to hear from the best of the best. Now, in this episode, you'll learn about what vendor advocacy actually is, how buyer advocates help beyond searching online, and how having someone in your corner can dramatically change your outcome. So, whether you're selling, upsizing, downsizing, or just buying for the first time, let's break down what they do, how they do it, and how they could change the way that you buy or sell your property. Nicole and Clint, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. What an intro. I love that. I wish every time I woke up in the morning and got myself ready, it could just be something that just was, playing over and over. Jo, just got to record you and then...
Oh, well, look, this is going to be recorded. What you can do
Play it.
is I'll just have that clip cut down for you and then I'll send it to you and I'll go, right, this is your
Straight
alarm
my
every morning.
hair.
Now, you do understand here, because I've got Nicole here, who's also my business partner, my wife. She's going to be doing the majority of the talking.
Really?
As soon as she does that, I'm allowed to talk.
Oh, got it. Okay, so we've got to wait for the clap signal for those listening. You hear
There
it,
are
if you hear
signals.
okay, it's
Done.
Clint's time.
It's done.
But I've been looking forward to this because, like I said to you, when I met you guys at the networking event at Own Money, I was like, oh, these guys are so fun. And then when we had a catch up before the episode and I was like, you should come on the show, it just solidified. I'm like, yeah, we're going to have so much fun today. So
Thank
learning-
you. Likewise.
Oh, thanks. Well, like I said, for our listeners, a lot of people on here are first-time buyers, second-time buyers. They're confused, they're overwhelmed, and that's why they're tuning in. They want to hear from different professionals, see what's out there, and see who can help. When I met you guys, I'm like, oh, this is going to be so fun, so relatable, and I love that you're in the owner occupancy, and selling space because it's so powerful and so needed. And a lot of people don't know that they can afford to have that help. They always think buyers
true.
agents are for the rich.
Yeah.
We're going to debunk that today.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
So let's go back in time. Tell us a little bit of a backstory and, what made you kind of go down this path of buyers advocacy and vendor advocacy in one?
I don't think there was any question at all when we started the business that we were going to do both. It wasn't we found ourselves either gravitating to one or the other. It was just that, we were in the space that we worked in, the area that we lived in from real estate. We owned our own office. And then, clients would come to us and say, oh, this has happened. Can you help us? So I don't think there was any defining saying, I'm going to just be a buyer. I'm just going to be a vendor. It was just a melting pot of all different pickles that people had got themselves into and then situations we came across. That's what sort of really started us off, I think.
Yeah, there wasn't any plan in place. It just happened.
Yeah.
As I said, we sold the agency back in 2018. Nick took some time off to be a full-time mum. I stayed in the real estate space, and then because of Nick's clientele, they just kept on ringing and saying, hey, I've got to sell a house. I need some help. Oh, okay, I'll start. And so it just evolved.
But that makes for the best business, right? Because you're just basing it on demand. It's like there was no real strategy of, like you said, buyer's advocacy or vendor advocacy. It kind of just happened based on what clients wanted. And in this space, it's so common for buyers to come in, whether they're buying or selling, and they're doing both at the same time in a lot of cases. I love that. It just, you listened to your market and said, okay, cool, we have to do this because that's what they want help with.
It was just so natural to us. Like, it was like walking and talking, like real estate, it's in our blood. It's something that we just absolutely do all the time. So when we were always talking about it, that never stopped. And people said, when, you're going to get bored, and I was like, no, I'm not. I'm going to have this amazing baby and it's going to be this great experience. And 4 months in, Bayside Real Estate Advocates was born, and here I am, helping clients, and it just really needed that too. So, it was a good space.
I think also what helped is most real estate agents only sell. They don't actually buy for clients. So what was happening is when Nicole started helping her clients sell their property, once they sold the property, they'd say, oh, I need some help buying now. Can you help me with that? Well, you might as well use me because I know all about real estate. I know how to negotiate. I know what to do. I know how to find your property. So I can help you do that. And that's why, well, maybe we can do both.
Oh, I love this. Like going even one step back, you ran Ray White Bohm. You sold that business. How did that experience kind of influence this model? And you're kind of talking about that now. So I thought that'd be appropriate to ask.
I think when we had the business, and being directors of a business is very different than being a rock star real estate agent. You've got staffing, you've got recruiting, you've got training, you've got the ins and outs of the accounts, you've got property management. All of these things left me as a director very little time to do the thing that I loved. So, I always enjoyed the client journey. I always enjoyed that interaction. And in a lot of ways, my real estate interaction with my clients has been my ability to have a connection. Real estate doesn't lend you a lot of time to be social. So I also found that was a really great time that I could actually have really great connections with my clients. And it was the bit that I loved the most. So that by all of that, I decided in this role that I was going to allow myself the time to be able to do the things that I really love and not just say, I'm so busy, you've got to give it to that quick. Everyone deserves time. Everyone deserves their professional to spend time on their situation and to be there. And I think that really allows us to do that.
No, I think you answered that really nicely. It's so rare to find someone very passionate about the people side, because often we talk about real estate and everyone thinks it's about houses. It's like, no, but if you know real estate properly, it's about people. And that's what you've just described so beautifully. It's the connection that you build. So I'm so glad that you were able to recognize, in that business, what you love doing that you didn't get time for, you've now built it into your model. And that's awesome.
She's very passionate about real estate. 14 years ago, we actually celebrated our 12-year marriage anniversary on
Tuesday.
Right.
But because I was in real estate when I first met Nicole, is because it's such a full-time job. It's not a job, it's actually a lifestyle. I would be cracking the shits all the time because she'd be out at like 9, 10 o'clock doing deals. And I'm like, I feel like a single person again.
Yeah.
But I didn't get it. But then so I was like the real estate widow. But once she dragged me across to the dark side, I'm like, I get it now. And it is such... Nick can be doing a deal on a Sunday night at 9:30 at night, first thing in the morning. So it is a full-time job.
Yeah, and I don't think like a lot of people see past that in the real estate side of things. Like they kind of see the glitz, the glam, whatever TV show puts out there, like Selling Sunset. You're like, oh yeah, cool. So you just get a Maserati and you get to be a complete wanker the whole time. Awesome.
I love that. We always say that they probably live at home with their parents. They've probably got a massive mortgage on their car. Like there's all debt. So it's all about, optics. How it looks, isn't it? Yeah.
Optics are a massive thing. So that's why it's so cool to, like I said, these guys are coming on because they're down to earth and you're going to get something real. So let's get into that. I guess, looking I love that you guys are a partnership and also, in a relationship. I think that's really sweet. How do you divide responsibilities across the business today and what makes the partnership work so well for your clients? Nicole, you look after vendor advocacy and then Clint, you're looking after the buyer side.
Well, yes and no. I think, any great agent that I've ever met is pretty terrible at paperwork and pretty terrible at all the little details that bog them down from doing all the amazing thing that they love doing, right?
Yeah.
And that's me. So Clint is the yin to my yang in terms of paperwork, files, invoicing, admin, research, forecasting, reports. He does all of this stuff where I just go, great, I know it's done. I know it's done well.
Yeah.
So, his projections, his budgeting, his all of that stuff, he's very hands-on. I can, take a file, meet with a client and know that we're matching people with property is a really important part of what I do. So I delve into those things, and that's a little bit different than Clint. He still does that.
Yeah.
But I do all vendor work. I do a fair chunk of the buyer stuff, and Clint does buyer stuff too. So between us, we work out that, and I think it's a good system.
I think that's good, especially.
I've just worked out that she's the boss.
And that's pretty easy too.
That makes it easy.
As long as he doesn't cross the line, he's all right.
It's true. Nick's main strength is her connection with clients, her connection with people, connection with agents. She's I've got good connection as well, but I've got a very good eye for detail. So I'll get a file and I'll go, so here's this, where's this, where's this? Oh, you'll follow up. You'll be able to do it. So, yeah, I do that as well. But
I love it.
In our marriage, in our personal life, in our work life, it just works.
Oh, that's awesome. And I think you can tell that it's so clear that it does work, and it's really cool to see you guys come together. So
don't get me wrong, we do have our
everyone does, yeah. Oh, you have to, right? That's what keeps it spicy.
Yeah.
But it's true. No, I love that. And, a lot of our listeners, like I said today, are listening because they're thinking of selling, or they're probably in that double entendre of I have to sell and I have to buy at the same time. And a lot of the time this is overwhelming for them, as you know. So I want to start by unpacking vendor advocacy, because I think this is not widely talked about enough, and how much of a benefit it is and like low risk to a seller. So can you break down for the audience, like what is vendor advocacy and what does it look like day to day?
Sure. So, vendors come to us at different stages and for different needs, during their journey. It could be they've found themselves on their own, making big decisions. They're older, they're downsizing, they don't have enough time in their life, and they've got kids and sport and everything. And and trying to look for a house is a full-time job. It is a full-time job. So, we find that, vendor advocacy is really great, not only to have someone that's very experienced, that knows exactly what they're doing in seeking and finding the properties, but also negotiating and talking them through strategies. And because we've been agents before, I really think the best advocates are the ones that have been agents before. Yeah. And I can't say that enough. In this industry where it's deregulated, I know this is a hot topic right now, but there are so many buyers advocates out there that do vendor work that just aren't capable to do the role. And I think really because we've sold thousands of properties for our clients and we know that process, and we've been the agent, we've both been auctioneers, providing that service to a vendor for vendor advocacy is one of the best strengths. Yeah.
Oh, I think that in itself, I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah. When you haven't been a real estate agent before, like even my career, I started as a real estate agent. Yep. And doing that, I think it makes a big difference, because then you fully understand both sides of the coin before you become a buyer's agent or a vendor advocate. So, and you're a weapon in that space. Both of you are.
I suppose also the good thing about using a vendor advocate like Nicole is you're getting this service for free. So Nicole doesn't actually charge the actual vendor. So if you could turn around to someone and say, look, you're going to sell your house, I'm going to give you someone who's got 30 years of real estate experience, owner an office, to be on your side, advocate for you for nothing at all. Why would you do it? Selecting the right agent, making sure you're paying the right commission, you're not paying too much in marketing, that you're getting the right negotiations, that the agent's doing the right thing, holding the agent accountable, things like that, because a lot of the time the agent might not be doing any callbacks, or come auction day or come the Thursday or Friday before auction, and you say, how's the auction going? The agent goes, I don't know.
Oh, it's so typical. And this is why I was saying it's low risk, right? So correct me if I'm wrong. When they come in, so let's say I'm a seller, I want to sell my house, and I've come across you guys, maybe I've listened to this podcast episode and gone, okay, cool, I'm going to engage these guys, I'm going to go talk to Clint and Nicole. And if I say, hey, I'm selling my house, you guys then, is it that you split the commission with the real estate agent that you choose? But before you choose the real estate agent, your services actually can be engaged straight away.
Yes. So vendor advocacy, it can be different. We take on the all from the beginning to the very end. And it's the extra 10% that we put into our clients that make the world of difference. And everyone knows that it's the extra 10% in anything you do. Yep. Presenting your home, pricing your property, doing your research, all of that. So having someone that's really on your side with that knowledge, we can go, right, let's take that huge, sizable thing in your life and bring it down to sort of little steps and bite-sized chunks. So it's about what can we do to increase the value of your property? Let's look at your budget individually. Let's look at the timing. I can be with clients for 4 months or more before we actually even get to the engaging of agents.
Wow.
Yes. And it's about quotes and cost and decluttering and getting professionals, speaking to their family, getting an idea of what they need, what they want, what pace they want to go with. Like, it's just so much about more than just the real estate. But when that real estate component comes into it, we just shine. So I think it's about all from the very beginning right to the very end from our service. And we do get paid when the property sells, and we share the commission with the agent. So having me delivering you into the better position to get the best price, negotiate well, and be in the best position when you reach or launch onto market, providing you with options is a really strong position to be in when you are selling your biggest asset, that's for sure.
No, unbelievable. Like, this is exactly why, for those listening, like, some of you emailed us throughout the week and asked about vendor advocacy, and, you had some concerns. I hope this has really settled that debate for you in your mind. If you're thinking, this probably won't work, you have to pay extra. You don't.
No.
This is a value-add service, and why wouldn't you go that extra mile to engage it? So I hope that's kind of cleared up the mystery around what does vendor advocacy actually mean, because you've spoken about, I'll get into like a bit more of the nitty gritty. So, you're involved in helping sellers choose the agents, which is an interesting process, because that's very much the make or break for a lot of houses. Like, if you choose the wrong agent or, the wrong agent for the wrong area, I find this a lot with family friends.
Definitely.
Right? So it's like, I know a real estate agent, but they're based in CBD, but my house is in the southeast, but I want them to sell it because I know them.
Definitely.
And I always say to people, you got to go with who the area expert is. Don't go with someone who's far removed. They're not going to do the open for inspection if they're based in CBD.
Or do a private appointment at 5:30 at night.
Correct. It's like the access is so limited.
Yeah. And then when they've got open for inspections, how much do they know about the property? Yeah. How can they sell the sizzle on your home? What's their voice out there in the marketplace when they're representing you when people are coming to the property? I think, yes, you're right when you say that. I choose great agents. I do heaps of research around agents. In Bayside, we know everyone. We've worked with everyone, and we're in a really good position. But if we're moving outside of that space, I always do research. What have they sold? Days on market? What's their reviews like? I Google stalk them. I interview them on the phone. I see them personally. I give them a tour of the property. I really need their submissions to give me a point of difference as to what they're doing and what else they can do to sell the property. I think that agents take a really sort of cookie cutter vanilla approach to everything. Yep. Sell a $1 million house and a $10 million house. It's not the same deal, but it's always done the same marketing and the same this and the same that. I really think to know who your buyer is, to be super specific in the marketplace so that you can target and reach the right buyers. Through your marketing is super important. But when we're choosing the right agent, some agents are great at $4 million houses, some are great at off the plan, some are great at apartments, some are good at a certain suburb and not beyond. Like, it just really targeting the right buyer. And if you're not focusing on database and you're not focusing on social media and what you're saying out there virtually about specific properties and how to bring buyers to your home, not being reactive but proactive in that space, you're not doing your job as an agent. So when we set the framework, when we work through what we expect during the process of being on the market, it's about those things as well. Hey, agent, you said you're going to do this at that time, and let's bump that there, and let's do another e-brochure, and you were looking at, getting us some free press on this. Let's do that. Where are you at with that buyer? Just this constant
engagement.
Process. Yes.
What it also does is when when an agent is being engaged, it actually stops the agent buying the listing. And what I mean by that is a lot of the time, we've seen it for years and years, where an agent will go in and say the property's worth $1.5 million. They'll go and say, oh, we'll be able to get you $1.9 million.
Yeah, always. Yep.
And so what they do is they're buying the actual listing where the client goes, oh, I'm going to get 1.9 million. I'm going with this agent. And then over the term of the campaign, the agent, of course, is managing that vendor expectations down. So once they start dealing with an applicant, they go, oh, Nicole knows what she's actually doing. She knows what she's doing here. We need to price this correctly.
Yeah.
And be accurate about it, because Nick does a lot of research.
Well, see, this is like such a godsend, I think, for a lot of sellers. Like I know personally, like my grandmother, for example, was a prime candidate for this. Oh. I acted like her vendor advocate. So I was able to, I did all what you do, right? Yeah. And did all that research. And then I did all the, where are we at with this? Where are we at with that? And just because I understand it. But when I think of someone like my grandmother who maybe doesn't have a family member in the business who could be that buffer, what do they do and who do they ask for help? And it's that older person, like you said, that maybe needs to downsize, find something else. That stress of going through a house sale to get your house ready to, is it going to sell? Is it going to go at the right price? How's the advertising going to go? Is it in a good condition? Do you need staging? There's so many questions. And it's like, I think the idea of selling for a lot of people, they start interviewing agents and go, don't worry about it. They get intimidated and, abandon halfway through. Whereas if they had someone like you guys taking that weight off of them, it's amazing. And you go, like you said, that extra 10%. I don't often hear that of like vendor advocates. Like I know a few. Never heard someone say to me they will nurture something for 4 months.
I think agents are fairly, and I know this from in the beginning when I was an agent too. I think, I meet good advocates and bad ones. And when I had vendor advocates refer business to me, it was like, all right, here we go. I'm going to do all the work. They're going to turn up on the day, or they're going to get in my way, of doing what I really know is working for this campaign. So that can happen as well. So I understand agents are a little bit skeptical, but I think any agents that's worked with us know that it's a collaboration. That's what it needs to be. I choose good agents. Yep. I choose good agents that do a good job, good negotiators, really savvy agents, and I trust in their process. But also too, it's working together. And I think when I'm just representing the vendor, not the buyer, not the budget, not the director wanting you to meet budget, not the next shiny thing that agents are so good at doing, but just the vendor. That's where, it really turns into something amazing. Now, on our results for our vendors, when I talk about something amazing, I still love that. Yeah. I still love that I get the thrill of getting this huge price. I still love that I can call them and say, hey, we got this offer. The agent's saying we should take it, but we just need 24 hours. Give me 24 hours with this agent.
The rough.
I want to squeeze. Yeah, that's right. I want to squeeze the juice. And then going back and going, we just got $85,000 more.
Awesome.
It's a great feeling and I still love that. So, yes.
Oh, you can tell it's the passion in your voice.
Yeah.
Even just touching on with the 10%, there's been times, and this is no word of a lie, where I've actually, that lovely old lady I've actually gone and actually been vacuuming and cleaning.
Oh my God.
Because they've had to move into an aged care or something. So even little things where they only had a checkbook. So when we were ordering, say, boxes or painters, we would actually have to pay them ourselves and then they'd write us a check.
Oh, there's no online banking when you're 94.
No, we can't expect that.
Yeah. No. So, and that is right. It's a huge portion of our business is the older clients. And, they often get agents out and they say, right, you need to do this, do this, do this. You need to do that. You go declutter, you go for, and the agent leaves and they go, oh my God. And they pump the brakes and go, we're staying here forever till we die.
Yeah, that's
but if they came to us, we go, right, let's do these things and let's do it in a stage that you're happy with. And it provides them an out and an opportunity and support. And, they don't want to bother family members. They've got their lives and, we just keep the family up to date and it's a poniest kind of agreement. It just moves nicer and it's lovely for older people to feel in control and to have the assistance.
It's a gift. I would have loved to have taken that stress off my grandmother more when she went through it. So it's like, all right, why didn't I meet you guys a little bit sooner? Yeah. I would have said, don't worry about it. We got it sorted.
Cool.
So I know who I'm using next time, that's
There
for
you
sure.
go.
Look, I think, I want to kind of delve into like the feedback that you typically hear from sellers after using your service, especially because your Google reviews are so good. So I'm looking at these reviews when I was getting prepared for this interview, and I'm like, far out. Like, okay, yeah, sold. Like, you don't need to tell me much, but, what's some of the stuff that you commonly hear from vendors, like once the journey's kind of completed with them, with you guys?
That was easy. and to me, that's a compliment because I go, I'm glad you thought so, because I was doing it all. No, when they go, gee, that was easy.
We were talking about this beforehand, and it was my example was it's like skydiving, right?
Yeah.
You've come down, you jump out of the plane, you're scary, it's all this thing, and you hit the ground and you go, wow, how good was that?
I want to do it again.
I can't believe that was so good. I was worrying for all this time. What a thrill.
Yeah. And then you guys are really the ones in the background taking on the brunt, right?
Yeah.
And it's a massive compliment, though, because it means you've made it stress-free for the seller.
Yeah, it's like the duck on a pond, isn't it? You're just cool and calm, and then underneath.
Yeah, underneath your legs are going crazy.
Absolutely. And there's been so many things, this and that person, and organising, coordinating, agents, submissions, search. But if they think it's great and easy, then that's what we've done. We've done our job.
Oh, and they'll be back, that's for sure.
He always does that to me. I always tell him off. He always does that to me. Even watching TV, he'll go like that. I'm like,
also,
I love that.
Stop.
Because Nicole's always directly involved in the negotiations, the price that she achieves for her vendors is always phenomenal. It's beyond their expectations every time. Whereas sometimes the agents will like to go, because they're like, I want to get this thing sold, whatever. Where Nicole go, no. Let's, as she said, let's wait another 24 hours, or let's try this buyer or this buyer or this buyer. Let's squeeze this lemon as hard as we can until it's dry. And it works every time.
There you go.
So a vendor was expecting this, and she will make sure that she will get the best price the market's willing to pay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a negotiation. I mean, I trained new recruits in the industry. I've run my own team. So training in front of hundreds of people about negotiation skills, scripts and dialogues, door knocking, time management, I've done that. So whenever an agent says something, I go, straight out of the playbook, or whatever it is. I know. Yeah. No.
It's like, I wrote that book.
No, not necessarily. My biggest fan over here says that, but
I love that. And I want to switch gears into buyer advocacy now, because vendor advocacy is, I'm so glad we covered it. And I hope for those of you tuning in today that you've learned something about this process and who you're going to engage, because I know who the hell I'm going to engage next. But let's switch gears into buyer's advocacy, because this is a different mindset, right? So Clint, this is more like I know you both always delve into two things at once. So I want to unpack it. What we know what buyer's advocacy does. We've talked a lot about it on the show. So what do you think the biggest misconceptions are about advocacy that people typically get wrong?
I think that the first thing is, and we speak to a lot of buyers, and they say, why don't I use a buyer's advocate? I can do it myself. And it's funny that I always say this thing that
they can.
Which I was saying, buyers don't know that they don't know.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So, we'll speak to buyers and we'll say, when we're doing a discovery call, hey, how long have you been looking in the market for? And they'll go 6, 7, 8 months. Yeah. And they think that's normal.
Yeah, it's not normal.
It actually is not.
No.
We will search and transact between 4 to 5 to 6 weeks.
Yep.
Because it's what we do all day, every day. So this misconception saying they could do it themselves, they can. But if they're taking 6 to 8 months to buy property, what they could have afforded, what property they were able to afford then, 8 months later, might be worth another $500,000 or 50 grand.
500 grand. That's
market's not moving that much.
So, but they don't understand that it's not just about finding them the property. It's about doing the research behind it. It's about doing, attending the auctions. It's about the negotiations. It's about making sure that we find them the off-market properties. So we find properties that that no one else will see.
Yeah.
I know every buyer's agent says they can do that. But there is a process to do it.
Well, no, but you guys have got the vendor advocacy side. So you actually, when you say you have access to off-market, you really do. Like, you've kind of got that your own machine sitting there.
Yeah, and we have, great local database. So we know a lot of agents. I actually feel, I did a post on my Instagram recently about gratefulness. Like, I honestly feel so grateful that the relationships that we have with agents and the professionalism that we have with them and the ability for agents to provide us with amazing leads and incredible off-market opportunities or pre-market for our buyers. We are so grateful,
That's
with
awesome.
them, because 43% of everything that we sell at the moment is to our buyers or off-market.
Wow.
Now, I don't think there's any other buyer's advocate that can say that nearly 50% of everything that we have. And there's a process like Clint was touching on then, we really work for that. We start the file, we contact other advocates to say this is the brief. We really sit down and work with what you need and want, can't live without. Then we sort of
Send out
emails to agents. We call individually every agent. We start that spreadsheet. Hey, you said that you've listed something, or you said that you've appraised something 2 weeks ago. Would you mind calling those people and see if they're happy to get a private appointment? Or I'll have agents calling me going, Nicole, you know how your buyer number 3 on your email? I just found it for them. I'm like, yes, like we are.
You've got a community.
Very active.
But that just hasn't happened overnight.
No.
We've spent years building these relationships with these agents. So when we're actually sending out an email with, say, a buyer's requirements, they're not just flicking it into their trash or anything. They're actually reading because they know, hey, we know that Clint and Nicole have actually got a fair income buyer and we've dealt with them before, so they're very easy to deal with. So having that relationship, it takes years to build up. And the bigger you can expand your real estate, I suppose, or network, the more opportunity you're going to get with the off-market stuff. But, it's the 50, 60 phone calls every day. We even do letterbox drops, mouse or whatever it is. So.
My dog loves it.
Jeez, no, and sounds extremely, like, I love that thoroughness of the journey, and I like that there's a network behind it, and you don't get that when everyone's got to start somewhere, of course, but you have the benefit that you've been in the game for so long that you have these connections and these relationships. And I think there's often this idea, like another misconception I come across is, real estate agents don't like working with buyers agents and they butt heads. And I'm like, as an ex-advocate, I'm an advocate at the moment, but I don't practice, right?
Yeah.
I've never had that experience. I've always had a really good relationship with agents.
Yeah. You get a lot more with honey, don't they say? But also too, I think, don't get me wrong, from the negotiation standpoint, we just go, right, now, and we hit it. We do not hold back. Yeah. But we know the ability to ask the agent, how many people did you get through your first open on that one? Who set the reserve? Is it you or is it the vendor? How many contracts have been requested? How many buyers do you think? If the auction was tomorrow, where do you think you'd be? It's all these questions about analysing the campaign. Buyers are able to ask those things, just like anything. They can ask anything, but the agent will say, this is where we're at. Honestly, we just lost someone. This is we're going to do it this way. If we call it first, do you think you'd be in? There's so much
different conversation to the buyer.
And when we go into with a buyer, when we are helping a buyer secure a property, our strike rate is over 90% for getting that property, because we sit down and we have a strategy session. We're like, this is what we're going to do at auction as well, but also pre-offering. We say, this is our opportunity. This is where the campaign has some weakness. This property needs to be done this way, based on your circumstances. I recently had a client who couldn't transact on a Sunday due to religious reasons, and I wasn't allowed to work with him for him on a Saturday or a Sunday. I know. So we had to think outside the box of how we were going to get these auction-orientated area, how we were going to get these properties that he wanted. So, it requires some strategy, and we're very good at that. So
I think also the touch on is, as Nicole was saying, is agents, I believe it's true, agents will usually tell us more than they'll tell a buyer.
Oh, that's 100%.
I've even had an agent ring me, 6 months ago and say, hey, Clint, I stuffed up. I've actually overpriced this property by $50,000. If your buyers are still interested, let me know. Now, they would never in their wildest dreams call all the buyers and say, hey, we've stuffed up, we've overpriced.
No,
and there's a reason for that too.
Yeah.
Because they need to protect themselves. They need to be very, very careful what they say. There are so many people out there from, consumer affairs to, pricing, and we've all seen all the media about underquoting. Like agents have to be careful. With us, they can drop the guard and we can just talk about the best way forward. And I think that really helps. Yeah.
I think the most important part of the word buyer advocate is advocate. They're advocating for you. That's why you're hiring them. It's so you don't have to take on that just because, you started off by saying, Clint, do it yourself mentality. I think that's just how, as a nation, we've always been kind of raised. It's you get the advice from your uncle at the barbecue who says you got to do it this way, and then you got someone else at another barbecue or a mate that did it. I recommend this professional. They're the best. And then you end up with this really odd bunch trying to help you do something. And that's where all these problems start, because typically when you're getting an advocate like yourselves, you said it perfectly, 3 to 6 weeks is what it takes to find, negotiate and get the property underway. You don't need to be on market for 6-9 months, even though that's the nation average. 9 months on market.
Isn't that amazing? 9 months on the market. You're like,
oh, no.
Poor buyers. What kind of clients benefit from using a buyer's advocate? And what's one win you've helped a buyer achieve?
This is what I wanted. So I think that's the next page, right? Yeah, that's the stories and impact. So we're in the advocacy stuff here, but I feel like you guys have answered a lot of the advocacy.
But that's a lot of this anyway, yeah.
So back to the advocacy.
Because we've gone through benefits for using an agent.
Someone to negotiate, I just offer less. You said, why pay someone to negotiate, just offer less?
It's actually funny because when you sell your house, you engage an agent to sell your house to get the best possible price. Why wouldn't you engage a professional to buy a house as well?
It's an age-old question. I agree. It's one of those things that I think we've just not been used to in our model in Australia. It's always been without question, even though people like to hang it on real estate agents, they'll always hire one when they have to sell their house. It's far less people trying to sell it DIY way and do it themselves. They don't really think to start there. Why don't they do the same for buyers, to advocate for yourself? And it's because I think it's been ingrained in us that you don't do that. You can do it yourself.
And the amount of money, every time that we purchase a property for our clients, the amount of money we can save these guys from the negotiation standpoint is phenomenal.
It's every time. It's honestly every time. If we don't make our fee for 3 or 4 times over in a transaction when we're negotiating, that's not normal for us.
Wow.
So people don't understand that until they're in it. We have never had, and I've said to clients, if you're concerned about the process and us not saving you money at the end of the day, then come back to me and talk to me about that. I'm happy to chat. Now, I have never had anyone come back and say that was not worth it.
Yeah.
So much more than what we could have imagined. So we're proud of that, we love doing that.
I've got this story. I've got it really quickly.
Uh-oh.
That lovely couple about the end of last year who were buying, and they had a budget in mind. So they had 1.185 million to spend. We went to the house. We went to auction. It got passed in to us. Got passed in to Nicole. We went to the negotiation. We're at the table there with the buyers, and they're emotionally involved.
Of course.
The agents came out and said, the vendor wants $2 million. They've gone, not going to happen. And we're sitting there, and the buyers have gone, offer them 1.185. Just offer them 1.185.
1.2 they wanted.
That's what I said.
We understand what you said.
Yeah.
That's what I said. They asked 1.2.
Easy. It's alrighty.
And they said, just offer 1.185. That's what we got this property. And Nicole's like, no. Let's just say, in the end, we ended up purchasing it for $1,135,000.
Well
So
done.
I literally saved them $50,000, and they were like, when we offered at the start, it's too low. Trust me, we know what we're doing. So having that negotiation, you can save yourselves $50,000, $60,000, $70,000.
Can I just make a really interesting point? Actually, what you say is so true. What happens behind closed doors? When I mention that, it's either when you're a buyer and you've had the property passed into you, or when you're a seller and your property is passed in. Now, what happens after that is what people don't often understand or prepare themselves for or even talk about, right? Now, the negotiation between the agent who's the professional agent and a poor person that wants to buy or sell their property.
Emotionally involved.
Yep. It is not fair. Now, from both angles or not. And, you know, it is, I was with a vendor the other day and their property was passed in and we knew it. It was not a surprise. There's no surprises at auction when you deal with me because we know exactly what's happening. So we knew that it was going to be passed in. So the agent came in and said, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he left. And I said, now, what he's also going to do, he's going to come back and he's going to say this, this and this. And he did. And he came back and said exactly that. And then he left. And I said, what we're going to do is blah, 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 blah. And he came back and said, and they went, I just can't believe you just explained exactly what was going on. I mean, it wasn't hard, but if I wasn't there, we would never have sold for that extra, you know, I think it was $72,000. So I just... You know, I think it's a necessity. It's a necessity we're there because they are professional agents.
And you need to have that in your corner. Absolutely. That process, like you said, behind closed doors, what happens when something passes in.
Yeah.
You know, often the buyers are the ones that leave very deflated. Like they feel like there's not another opportunity. It's like, oh, well, we didn't get it.
You wouldn't believe the things we see and we know happens. You know, just leave a crowd out the front so it looks like there's lots of buyers that are interested. Tell that underbidder, oh, the underbidder's still out there. The underbidder's out. Yeah. He was out ages ago. Like, it's just so interesting. Yeah. You know, and I agree and I love agents and we've talked about that and I am, you know, having one for myself for a long time. But I just think it's shedding the light on the process and offering options is really the truth.
You're enlightening people.
Behind the veil, of negotiations.
No, I love that. And I think this kind of, there's a question I want to ask here and it's, you know, I want to know what's one win that you can talk about where you've helped a buyer achieve like a really either good price or just like save them time. Like what's a good example of one of the buyers that you've helped?
I'm doing one.
There's so many.
I
was thinking, you do one of yours.
But I've got one, this lovely first home buyer. She was having a look for a property. And one thing we do as a buyer's agent is just really about understanding what the client wants. We need to know if they want, you know, a good sized yard, open plan, whatever it is. We had this client, we'd been working with her for about 3 months. And we found her a few off-market properties. And I found her this property. And it was probably about 4:30, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I convinced the agent to let me through.
Right.
They were doing the photography as I was there. And I've walked into this place and I've gone, this is her. She wants this. She will love it. So I said, hey, blah, blah, blah. You need to come and look at it. She said, I'm at work. I can't. I said, no. You need to come here right now because this is going to go to market tomorrow. And if you don't get this now, you might miss out, but B, you might pay an extra 50 grand or whatever it is. Yep. So I convinced her to come down. As soon as she walked in, she's gone, I want it.
We knew.
Straight away.
Yeah.
So I convinced the agent, I said, can you hold off going to market for one more day? Just for me, plus me. And because I had this relationship with the agent, she knew that I was fair dinkum.
Yeah.
So, of course, we bought it that night. We organised the building and pest the next day. And that's one thing we do, which is very hard to do.
Yeah, that's a record time.
We have really good urgency now.
We need a favour car. That was all done by that next day. And she was absolutely gobsmacked. She was wrapped. And that was enough.
Time is not your friend in real estate. People think we have time. We have time. It is not your friend. We have time to make a decision. We have time to buy a house. No, it is the quick and the dead. We have the urgency and the hustle and the ability to be able to put these things together. And I think that's key.
I remember months ago, I was at a friend's birthday and we're at a pub in Beaumaris. And this is 10:30 at night. I'm out the front of the pub on the phone with an agent negotiating on a property.
Wow.
And after I got off the phone, I rang the buyer and said, we're slowly getting there. He said, call him back. I said, no. Whoever calls first loses.
Yes, that's the one.
So then the agent rang me back first in the morning. I've gone, got it.
Yeah. I love that. Like, that's a really good story too. I like that you shared that because you don't know, like, all these things that you could do as a buyer. Yeah, you could say all these things, but you're emotionally invested and it is so hard to go against that instinct. Yeah. Like, it's hard. It's not like you're buying clothes and we put, like, there's always this stat that I love to talk about that buyers will spend more time, not buyers specifically, but people in general will spend more time trying to pick a Netflix show to watch than they do inspecting their home where they're going to bet all their life savings on. Yeah. And I'm like, that is dead accurate. Yeah, I'll spend an hour before I find a TV show, then I end up not watching anything. And oh, well.
And you'll go through a home for 15 minutes and buy it for $3 million.
Yeah, correct.
It's ridiculous.
Like, I want it.
You might have been there going there for 15 minutes, but I guarantee you we've taken photos, gone through all the stuff, before you get there.
That's right. It's like, and then when you're arriving, and that's like you said, you know that brief, you know that person.
Test drive.
Yeah, you've done all the test driving, you've already asked all the hard questions, and you're not going to call the buyer to waste their time. You're going to call them to say it's serious, and you know that when you do get that call from your advocate, shit, I got to react, I got to act, I got to go. If they're telling me to come down, they don't get me to come here for everything. So,
but even little ones, I had this other buyer. Sorry to give all these suggestions, these stories. A few weeks ago, and he said he was an out of town buyer. He said, I'm looking at this, and this, and I've said to him, I found this property, and I've gone, you need to look at this. He's gone, I said, trust me, you need to look at it. And he said, why? I said, because you're after a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit. Very, very rare to find, because they usually a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom because they need the space. And I found this 2-bed, 2-bath little unit, townhousey thing. And I said, you've got to come over with us. So he drove down from, I think, Heathcote, along about 2 hours. Looked at it.
He said, you're right.
He would have looked at that, because he said, this is not for me. I'm like, I know who you are now. I know what you want. Trust me, you've got to look at it. You'll buy. You'll like it.
Unreal. Well, these are great. Like, I think stories always help connect all of the stuff together because it's easier to draw on, which kind of leads me to my next segment. This is one of my favorites where I do myth busting. So I'm going to myth bust with you guys. I'm going to throw some tough ones at you. And these are real comments from Reddit. They're also from the property forums. And some of them are users submitted to our emails. So I've got a bit of a mix. I'm going to read some statements and I want to get your take on them and see, how we can debunk them. All right.
Easy.
Let's get it.
Brilliant.
Hey.
All right, let's do it. So my first one is, this is a Redditor. Vendor advocates just add another middleman. Why not go direct to the agent?
Well, I think the vendor advocates add that buffer in between negotiations. You can go direct to the agent, but how do you know you get a good agent? How do you know that the person that you're getting is not just saying those things to win the business? People can say anything to you, and it's up to you on whether you believe it. But as a vendor advocate, we make sure we go by facts, experience. We have all this experience to guide you. So I think that is a much better process. So rather than thinking of an advocate as the middleman, I would think of the advocate as the conduit between the agent and the vendor, so that your decisions are succinct, on target, thought out, with experience backup if anything goes wrong. Because I think as a vendor advocate, it's not about just the journey that you're in the middle of. It's about preempting and being 2 steps ahead of what could happen, what will happen. And that means it reduces stress and difficulty for any vendor. So that's why you have a middleman. You don't want that coming back on you and having to deal with that. I mean, there's a lot that can go wrong in that process in itself.
It's madness. Why wouldn't you get someone of 30 years real estate experience for free to be advocating on your side?
It's a no-brainer.
It's like, I'm going to build a rocket ship, and then a guy from NASA who's worked at NASA for 40 years says, "Hey, I'll help you do it. I won't charge you a cent." No, I don't need your help. I'll do it myself.
It's the Aussie mentality, right? No, I'll do it myself. Don't worry about it. The next one here is a commenter that actually was on one of the property forums. Buyer's agents just send you the same listings on Domain that you'd find yourself.
That's a cracker. I like that one.
Actually,
that's all we do.
Actually, that's interesting. I actually had a client say to me the other day, a beautiful first home buyer, that her mortgage broker had said to her, who was just with Commonwealth Bank, but had said to her, buyer's advocates don't actually save you money. They find the property for you, but they don't save you money. And I just went, that is incredible. So to answer the question there, we save the money through negotiations. We find them the right property. We open up a whole new marketplace of things that are being sold.
But we don't just, that's all we do, just flip them stuff. But it's,
that's crazy.
5% of our stuff is off market. We do that extra stuff. We organise building and pest inspections. We organise builders, do this. We're on the phone 6-7 hours a day. We go to opens. Which is something I do. I shouldn't have been saying this.
Well, don't say it then.
Is it?
If it's on a podcast, it's out there.
I'll actually just say there's an option, 4-week auction campaign.
Uh-oh, here we
The
go.
last 2 weeks, I'll actually the open. Oh, we had 4 says to
I used
me,
to do that.
Maybe the campaign isn't going as well as this at any one time each, because we want to be able to make sure that we can service everyone. Because
Yeah.
there's so much work behind the scenes that go on.
Ugh.
You know, if we could have, if that's all we did, flip them listings, we could have 30 buyers.
But fair enough, though. I mean, that comment is probably they've gone through that sort of bigger advocacy sort of way of dealing with their buyers, and they're all about volume. And you get one email a week. They should say, these are the 2 properties we're looking for you for the week. You know what I'm talking about, because you've been, in that process. So that poor buyer is going, and then they're getting a graph that spits out from CoreLogic to say this is what's happening in the marketplace, We are more hands-on than that. We get involved. We know them backwards, forwards and frontwards. We FaceTime, we call, we get excited with them. We're on that journey, and that's what makes it different. And that's why all of our Google reviews are so good, and we're able to achieve great things with our buyers. So
You're involved.
that's it.
And I really like that answer. And I like this next one.
Okay.
Some people. Okay, this one came through Reddit. Vendor advocates are only for rich downsizers or luxury homes.
Oh, I wish we had luxury homes, just luxury. No, I don't. I love luxury homes, but I also love all clients from, first home buyers to those people that are time poor, that may be really busy with work and at a higher echelon in price. Like, I don't think that vendor advocates are just for rich people. No.
Nick sold properties for, she sold, helped out, people who are selling a $500,000 unit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyone. Absolutely.
It's anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone that needs extra support, anyone that wants to do it differently, anyone that's had a bad experience, anyone that feels nervous or alone or too busy or just understands the value of what we do. It doesn't take a smart person, a business person that realizes that they might be amazing at what their field, but they're not experts in everything, would say, okay, great, I need that. And we work with CEOs and we work with big, smart people with their own businesses and local Bayside people and afar. But we also work with people that are buying their first house. I mean, and in selling their first home. My first house was $69,000. I was 22.
Oh,
the agent, this is a long time ago. Oh my God, I am. The agent that I purchased through, he did such a bad job. And I thought, look, I'm going to do the real estate course. I was already on a different trajectory study-wise.
Yep.
And I did the real estate course and I went, that's how it should have been done. Right. And then that's started my love of real estate. So, from that experience, and we were just kids.
Yeah.
So,
But for everyone out there, it doesn't matter if you've got a 1-bedroom unit or a 16-bedroom mansion, use a vendor advocate.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
That's why I reckon it was 98% of people that we speak to and sit opposite about what we do from a vendor point of view just goes, yes.
Yeah, because there's no risk. It's not like you're saying, so just sign $10,000 over and then we'll get started. It's like, no, we'll do all of that and we'll just share the commission with the agent.
Yeah, and some clients want to know more about the strategic stuff. Some want to know more about the analyticals. Some want to be involved in a pre-market meeting and a mid-market meeting. It's just setting the framework first. What do you love about, what do you want to be involved in? What do you not want to be involved in? Let's work together. No,
it sounds like such a calming experience. Like your experience, like the experience you guys have shows really clearly because you've done it day in, day out, and you're like, no, we've got frameworks, we've got things set up for success, and it's a well-oiled machine at this point.
Yeah.
So I think that debunks that one. And the last one here I have. All right.
I know this is going to be good because you can see the look on your face.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh God. So why pay someone to negotiate? I can just offer less.
Wow.
Offer less. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And win nothing.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know that we need to really even say
much.
that.
I think
The question answers itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, I think those poor people are just waiting to be taken advantage of. I look at that and go, oh, you poor bugger. You got no hope for you.
Yeah.
Because I think, that is just leaving yourself really exposed in not knowing,
there's so many tools to negotiate with,
Yeah.
But because
we
we've been
do.
agents, we know exactly everything that they're going to say, as Nicole said before about they're going to say this, they're going to say this. We know because, of course, the agent is trying to get as much for their vendor, and us as a buyer's agent are trying to pay as little as we can for the house. So it's about reading the play of the agent. Even it's funny that when agents see myself or Nicole go into a property and we're liking the property, you can even look on their face going, oh no, now we're going to have to negotiate with Clint and Nicole.
Yeah, and
this
it's
is
like,
going to be tough.
this is going to be rough. They probably just give up and go, all right, listen.
They just tell us the truth. A lot of them just go, we know that this is,
well, that's another
a futile process.
Like, look, that's another secret weapon of yours. They see you coming and they go, all right, fine.
It's on the table.
It's $50K less. Just sign it now.
And my little guy who's 8 and Clint, your little guy. The boys always joke that I ask them 3 times to everything. Do you want yogurt? No, Mum. Are you sure you don't want yogurt? No, Mum. Yogurt would be really good if you did that before basketball, Finn. And I asked 3 times to everything, and I think that's the agent in me. It is the agent asking all different ways. So the agents know that if they don't answer the question the way that I want them to answer, I'll just keep asking and keep annoying, keep getting the result that I want.
Are you sure you're Italian? I'm going to talk to my mum about this.
Really?
The repeating it. We make fun of her because she repeats herself all the time. And the food is a big problem. And
she's like, eat.
Yeah, my grandma's another person. Comment on your weight. And then she'll go, oh, you don't like my cooking.
You're like, Grandma?
Yeah.
That's her love language.
That's right. And then my mum's over there going, are you sure? Are you sure? I don't mind. Like, I'm like, no, Mum, it's fine. She's like, no, are you sure? And I'm like, oh, okay, well, if you want to, all right, if you want. And she's like, okay, you sure? And I'm like,
oh God.
You know, have you locked the front gate? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Have you locked? Yes. Don't talk to me like that. Don't ask me 3 times.
Guys, I've thoroughly enjoyed this episode today. So much value, so much fun. What's one thing that you guys want people to walk away remembering from this episode?
Well, I think there's always a new way to do everything, and seeking professional advice when you're spending and going through this most expensive part of your life and purchasing and selling. It can cost you hundreds and hundreds of thousands. It's not something that you should take lightly. So getting advice and getting the right people to be your support pit crew through this process, that's the first thing.
I think also is you don't have to do it by yourself. Don't do it alone. Get someone who's professional. Get someone who knows what they're doing. They're there to help you. That's what we do.
And then afterwards you go, that was easy.
Yeah,
and we'll go.
But it's true. I think, one of the biggest things I always say is it costs nothing to book in a conversation and find out more. And then you can make your decision. Yeah. So it's not going to hurt to have that discussion with you guys, book in a chat and say, I'm unsure, but tell me how it works.
Yeah, the information, as much information as you can.
One of the main things we do is we take the emotion away.
Yeah.
I still love those.
Move different.
That is true. When you know that you've got an emotional buyer, as an agent, you go, yep, bring it on. Yeah. How great is that when you've got a couple of them at once? Rub your hands together.
Yeah, that's right. It's like,
an agent.
Agents love an emotional buyer, and it doesn't matter that if you're, that uncle at the barbecue that said to you, don't talk to the agent, don't say anything. It's not the good advice either. Like,
no, it's not good advice either.
It's not 0 to 100.
No, it's not.
But, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
I hope you had fun.
Yeah, always fun with you. And on that note,
let's wrap up. So thank you guys for being here once again. What a great show and episode. So for all of you listening, we've broken down the core differences between vendor and buyer advocacy. We've explained how the services actually work and unpacked how they can protect, empower and guide people through often the stressful process of buying or selling. So it's a no-brainer, guys, especially vendor advocacy side. Why wouldn't you? So if you're in Victoria and you're thinking about your next move, whether it's buying your dream home or preparing to sell, Nicole and Clint at Bayside Real Estate are absolutely worth checking out. All the details are in the show notes, and don't forget to follow or subscribe to the No BS Real Estate podcast for more value-packed episodes like this one. Have a great one. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jo.
That's a wrap for this episode of the No BS Real Estate podcast, powered by Abodey AI. If you found this conversation helpful, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who might need it. If you're looking for more guidance on your home buying journey, you can visit www.abodey.com.au for expert advice, property insights, and the tools you need to find the right home with confidence. If you're already on your journey, you can also download our app. Just search Abodey AI on the App Store or Google Play. Have any questions or want to connect, you can follow us on Instagram at abodey.com.au or send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.